All right, Coach Collodi, Coach Nick Ficker, we're going to be talking about how Nick started as a high school strength coach and the journey as to where he is now. So what do you got? Paul, how did you meet Nick?
Nick and I first met at the first NHSSCA conference at Greater Atlanta Christian School. And we've been in a bunch of different cohorts, from Winning Leader Academy to doing stuff with Coach Boone, to the coaches thing with play that we did. And
the mentorship.
The mentorship.
Yep.
And developed a great relationship. And I always look to him, because what he's doing at Asheville Christian Academy, to me, is where we need to be as strength coaches. And he was just telling us a little bit about it. Nick, tell us about how you started there.
Yeah, so again, Nick Ficker. I'm at Asheville Christian Academy in Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains. And so I was brought on in 2014 as a high school PE coach, and started the strength and conditioning program from the ground up. When I walked in, we had an 800 square foot weight room, just had a bunch of different random stuff that was in there, all donated. And slowly built the program up. I reached out to Gary Schofield, has been a mentor of mine since day one, and slowly got our program to where it is now. We're fortunate now to have a 4,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility that we partnered with Play on.
Nice.
And now we've got probably one of the best facilities in all of North Carolina.
All right. So when later on, maybe text me some photos that I could share. But when you went through the interview process, you mentioned that they were like, "Hey, we need a phys ed teacher, but we need somebody to lead up sports performance." And you said you didn't really know what it was. So, and then the growing. What was step one to growing the program, or even just starting the program? Because where we're from in New Jersey, there's a ton of schools that do not have a full-time strength coach. So this is actually how it starts. They're like, "We got nothing. It's on you. Do it. Go." So how did it start for you there?
Yeah, so for me, again, I was asked to start a human performance program or strength conditioning program. My background's in the cycling industry, so I knew training. I knew what periodization was. I just didn't know that it was called periodization. I knew how to set up a training program, and so I started to look into strength conditioning. I had talked to a few people, reached out to Kevin Vanderbush and Gary Schofield, and Gary was fortunate enough to get in touch with him, and he walked me through, hey, what does it look like to get certified, and what does it look like where do I need to go for education and for to reach out to different people.
What was your first educational resource that you feel really got you going? Was it a website, a book, a person, outside of Gary?
Let's see, outside of Gary, the first thing I went to was the NASE conference down at Burns High School. Which was the CSS, the certified
Coach Schrock.
Yeah, down with Coach Schrock.
Oh, National Academy of Speed and Explosion.
That's it.
Yes, that a lot of people
that was
don't
my
know
first
about
thing, and I walked in not knowing that we were taking a test that day. So I walked in and got all this information, and then from there came back, was super excited about it, started the journey with my CSCS. Studied for that, was fortunate enough to get my CSCS, and then around that time, that's when the NHSSCA was born.
What about in the school with regards to going from, how did you start expanding the equipment and getting it set up so you could serve the kids?
One of the first things I did was I took inventory of what we had, and then I started to look at pictures online of what other programs had, what did their weight rooms look like. I took a little bit more direct approach. I don't know if I would recommend this, but I went and I took all of the equipment that I didn't want. I took pictures of it. I threw it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I started selling it, and I told my AD about it afterwards. So probably not the best idea.
That's awesome.
But I did. I was able to scrounge up some money from those sales. Went into my athletic director's office, said, "Hey, there's a used equipment store down the road. They've got 4 racks. These are the 4 racks that I want. Here's the money that I got from selling the equipment. Here's how much the truck rental will cost, and here's a $25 Chick-fil-A gift card so you can go get lunch on the way there.
Nice.
Will you go get this stuff for me?" And he jumped right in on it.
That's great. So, fun, Paul, my guy, Coach Collodi, mentioned you got to do a lot of fundraising and I've done that. I'm in a public school.
Yeah.
You're in a private Christian academy.
Correct.
What was the best fundraiser activity you've done?
For us, fundraising was simply building relationships with parents. Going to parents, sitting down with them over lunch, over coffee, at sporting events, stuff like that, and just trying to sell the dream. Coach Boone talks about what is your promised land. So I showed them, hey, this is my promised land. This is what our kids deserve, and here's why. And so right when COVID hit, I had already pitched the idea of building a new facility to our board and our head of school. Head of school called and said, hey, we've got the green light. It's up to you to go fundraise. And so I went to families and said, hey, here's what I want to build, and here's why. And through that and through the partnerships with the families and selling that vision to them, we had a bunch of families that stepped up in major ways, and we were able to build the facility that we're in now. And so it's a brand new building. It's a
building.
It's a brand new building right off the edge of the school, state-of-the-art facility. And the way that we set it up is every team that walks in to play us in any sport, when the bus pulls in, they walk right past our weight room. So it's a showpiece, it's a selling point for our school, and it's been a huge blessing and a huge benefit to our kids. Our kids love coming in there. It's logoed all the way around. It's a pretty sweet spot to call home every single day.
Nice. All right, Coach Nick Ficker, what do we got, Coach?
What, last 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I
man.
consider you a grassroots guy. I know we all have our mentors, but
Sure.
you've done it from the ground up. One thing, 30 seconds. What would you tell a young coach trying to do what you're doing? What would be the one piece of advice you give them?
The one piece of advice I give you is call other coaches and try to build relationships. The one thing I've realized about the high school strength and conditioning world is there are no secrets, right? There's just relationships and friends. And if you can get in touch with coaches, ask them, hey, how did you do it? High school coaches are willing to share. They're willing to say, hey, here's how we did it. And any new coaches that are watching, I'll give my contact info to Zach, and we'll put it up in the video. Reach out, come by. I'd love to have you guys come by and see us here in Asheville. But reach out to coaches, and don't be afraid to ask the question.
Love it. Thank you, Coach Nick Ficker. We will tag you up on Instagram and on YouTube. Also put your Instagram handle in the info section. Thanks, brother.
Love it.